think now is a good time to try boosting morale. Right before battles, great leaders often tell stories or make influential speeches.
I'm not a leader, and definitely not a great one.
May I remind you that you're the only one in touch with Reverie? Your scope of action is much larger than everyone else's. I don't doubt that it's uncomfortable, but people look to you for a reason. It's about the darkest days of Athena. A time when the Oxyon civilization was on the brink of collapse. I think we should try sharing it with people.
There was a war? In Reverie?
Apparently. It doesn't go into details, but it seems the fall of the Oxyon culture set something off across the divide. The aspirations turned on each other. It was quite brutal, it seems.
They never told me.
I guess they didn't want to heap any more pressure on you.
Me?
You. The Oracle. They couldn't find a way to end the conflict, so they created the first Oracle. In turn, the Oracle chose a new heart, and the war ended. Of course, until this week, I thought it was all a metaphor. A parable on trust or something.
And here I was, thinking all copies of that little ditty were destroyed. I'll have to tell Power. It'll send him loopy.
It ends with the aspirations vowing to help Athena in return for the Oracle's aid. Sounds familiar.
I see what you're doing.
Me?
You. Maybe it would do everyone some good. To hear that what we're going through has happened before. And that everything turned out okay.
That's why stories exist, right? Community. A way to share experiences and to shape the collective imagination. to inspire. You coming?
Yeah. Just give me a minute. I think I'm going to go straight to the source on this one. Come on. I know you're there.
Oh, no fair. You cheated. All those powers of yours.
Oracle? Comes with a title. You were listening?
Only a bit. Well, a lot.
Want to tell me about it?
I don't know. The others might get all moody. They don't like talking about it. It's all ancient history this, and water under the bridge that. Then again, perhaps a story might not be the worst idea.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. So this is an old Oxyon story that, well, I think it might be just what we all need right now.
Oh, let me tell it. Do go on. I'm ever so good. Pragmatic is my middle name. Not really, of course. It's Suzanne. At first, there was nothing.
At first, there was nothing.
Very nice, good diction. There was nothing for a very long time indeed. And then, there was me. Chaos was born! The first aspiration born from humanity. You see, we're not creators, we're not gods, we're concepts. Your concepts, made real by the collective subconscious. As the first Homo sapiens looked out into the world, all they saw was chaos, unrest, freedom, unlimited possibility. From that possibility came me. I helped them make sense of the world, embrace the limitless, appreciate the boundless potential.
Then I came along. I taught humanity how amazing community could be. How sticking together made everything a little bit nicer, you know? Every time you lot take a new turn, one of us lot is born.
And for a long time, it was just the two of us, wasn't it, you little gremlin?
That's right. I was the warm fire after a hunt, or a newborn's first squeal.
And I was the growl in the night, the open plain ready to be explored.
after that, well...
Well, indeed. Things may have gotten a little out of hand.
Indeed. It was I who started the War of the Aspirations. Chaos believed that Reverie could exist without a heart, that communal rule was the way forward. I disagreed, of course.
Rather vehemently, as I recall. But I did side with power. We needed order, not anarchy. Our responsibilities to Brittle are too great to gamble on one aspiration's wild flight of fancy.
They disagreed with my disagreeing and sent their agents to co-opt my egregor supply. In turn, I sent my armies into their maze to rout them out of hiding.
Armies. You've mentioned those before.
The Egregor are able to construct familiars, to split ourselves into 1,000 soldiers, if needs must.
It took a great deal of effort, and Chaos's traps took even more.
When I reconnected with Reverie, I thought I saw images very much like that.
Yes. Such actions echo across the ages, becoming forever etched into each of our histories. When we lost connection with Brittle, with our Oracle, we feared such events might repeat themselves. Brittle and Reverie, two sides of the same coin. Reflections seen through a cracked mirror. If we cannot find our balance, neither will Brittle, and vice versa, of course.
When we began to fight, so did your kind. Wars, disease, despotic leaders. Athena was engulfed in a flame of our making.
Or we engulfed by theirs. The truth is a multifaceted thing.
But now, MK, the state of Reverie, it's all happening again. Last time, what did you do? How did you stop the collapse?
We found an island, the keystone between the two realms.
Athena.
And there we chose a mortal to become our conduit. The first Oracle.
They were tasked with choosing the new heart. They chose the direction humanity would take.
Go on then. You've got them in the palm of your what's-it. Don't lose them. Maybe talk about the first Oracle. What were they like? Why did they choose who they chose?
Good luck with that. Can't imagine you getting anything worth repeating out of this bunch. Or at least nothing coherent. Everyone's got an opinion.
It's like our story, isn't it? We did our part. Now it's up to you to bring it home.
Oh, it doesn't end. No stories end. They just peter out. Look, I can tell you this much. For every cycle of humanity, each time there's a big old change in your world, a new aspiration is born.
We're well overdue for a new one. Like, really, it's been ages.
You stopped. Is everything all right? Do you need to sit? A drink, perhaps? I must have left the pool light on. Blast.
Who would he have chosen?
I don't know. Truly. But I know what he would have wanted them to stand for.
Kindness. Empathy.
Understanding.
Look at us. All of us. We've been through so much pain these past few weeks. He'd have put an end to all that. Or stemmed the tide, at least. A world with more empathy. That's what he'd have wanted.
Who were the oracles? How did you choose them? Did you even choose at all? What do you want from me? Really? So, nothing's changed, has it? I'll have to figure this out by myself.
Harmony, wait!
Don't call me that!
The truth is, we chose the first Oracle out of desperation.
We needed them.
We needed their guidance.
We needed an end to the war. An end we were unable to bring about ourselves.
So, that's all they were? At all?
Initially, yes.
But then, well, we realized you're all right, you lot. Humanity.
You may not believe this, but it turned out we'd been so obsessed with our own affairs that we'd completely overlooked everything in Brittle.
And so the arrangement became permanent, and the oracles became a guiding hand on the rudder of Reverie.
Not leaders, but advisors.
Major Domos.
Producers.
Friends!
But what about me? What do you want from me?
That, I'm afraid, is up to you. What kind of oracle you choose to become is not up to us. It is the very nature of the agreement that you continue as your own person.
Right? Right. Well, in that case, I'm going to be... As the Oracle, I want to be empathetic. As the Oracle, I want to feel what others feel, and consider how others will react. Every decision must be for the benefit of the many, not the few. An Oracle has to be fearless, ambitious, determined. Every decision I make must be firm, with everything I have behind it. Change requires strength, and I have the strength to be an effective Oracle.
Yes. A valid choice. Indeed, the very first Oracle had the heart of a warrior. To bring about peace, they turned to war. They urged us to fight. To show our prowess on the field of battle. Fighting and fighting until all were weakened. Exhausted. And we saw that nothing had changed. We realized the futility of it all. The pointless waste. The Oracle had us build the labyrinth. A maze to store all our grievances. A place where they could be forgotten. We still bear the scars of that quarrel. In more ways than one. And of course, there was only one real way to end the war. They had to bring peace to Brittany, too.
Did I say something funny?
You looked like you were reading from a script, talking about the first oracle.
I didn't realize. But I don't think any of it was particularly funny. Hey, what's so funny?
Nothing. Sorry. We just...
Honestly, all the history is interesting, but it's not primetime stuff, you know? We want to hear about actions. Real stuff we can work on, stuff that can make a difference. Like, how did this first oracle settle the conflicts in Brittle?
Going by the folks here, the prescients, the Oracle must have been pretty powerful. Definitely powerful enough to stop a war.
The first oracle split their time between the realms. They learned from the aspirations, but also their fellow humans. This was their skill. Duality of perspective. But to end the war in Brittle, they ended up spending more time there than in Reverie. They spread the word of their sister realm and the aspirations that lived there. They told people the lessons they'd learnt there, used those lessons to improve the world. Soon, the population gathered around the Oracle, willing them to bring peace. And soon, the Oracle gained the power needed to fulfill that wish. The Oracle created a necklace. It was how they would pass on their powers from one human being to the next. It became a link between Brittle and Reverie. The creation was a revelation on both sides of the divide. To humanity, it was proof that higher powers were listening, and that they had never been closer to them. And to the aspirations, it was the loosening of the barrier between their realm and the source of their power in Brittle. And to the Oracle, it was a gift. A way to pass on all that they had learned in their time.
This was back when Athena was facing its darkest days. There was an ecological disaster. The specifics are lost to time, but we know the population was devastated by vicious storms, which brought floods and mudslides. Then, as they are wont to do, a dictator arose, taking advantage of the pain and suffering to wield absolute power. The people were despondent. The ruling class's own inadequacy provided the perfect distraction. As they lurched from one calamity to the next, the populace grew ever more apathetic. And when there were signs of rebellion, half the populace looked away, or sided against their own interests.
It was up to the Oracle to break this cycle. To break the system that had enslaved the people. So they had to act. They decided to. The Oracle had faith in the people to dig themselves out. They pursued a path of knowledge, teaching the populace a different way to live. The foundations of new forms of government were built, curiosity reigned, and people studied the world around them. What's more, people shared their knowledge. They didn't secret it away or censor it. They taught one another. This gave them more power through the sum of that knowledge. They decided to... They decided to go to the aspirations, to benefit from their wisdom. Instead, what they found was discord and disorder. Each had a different opinion on how to proceed. Each pushed their own agenda. Except one. One aspiration remained with the Oracle through it all. Chaos. Chaos told the Oracle humanity was bound to cycles of pain and suffering, that it was in their nature. And the Oracle knew they were right. So Chaos told them.
If you can't stop the wheel from spinning, the wheel must be broken.
What happened next is... unknown. Even to the aspirations. Even to Reverie. The world changed, or specifically didn't change. There was a silence. And a void. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I see nothing to argue with in that story. As a species, we do tend to move in cycles, making the same mistakes again and again, no matter the outcome. The aspirations come from us, just as we continue to exist because of them, but we are the source. They are only the mirror. Our fate has always been our own to choose, just as our failings have always been of our own making. Surrendering to the unknown might be the only viable path forward for us as a civilization.
So you have to choose, right? The path forward. The new heart. Who gets the job?
I think you know where my loyalties lie.
Chaos.
Yes. The unknown. The unrealized potential of just letting go. Of everything. The idea of trying something genuinely new and fresh.
No, that would be a terrible choice.
I thought you'd jump at the chance. After all the trouble you got into with my mother?
Well, that's rather the point, isn't it? No one ever chose me as heart because no one knows what would actually happen. Not even me. It could mean anything. The very end of existence as you know it. An anarchist utopia of unlimited sex and drugs. Or a generation of stagnation and apathy. I mean, yes, it'd be fun to find out. But then what? What if it all goes tits up? That'd be no fun at all.
I've dedicated my whole life to the pursuit of truth. Historical truth, emotional truth, philosophical truth. So, I think you can see where my preferences lie here.
I would certainly be a valid choice. Many of your kind, like this young man, are naturally drawn to me. But this is often because they believe I know your kind better than you know yourselves. Regardless, in previous eras where I took the position of heart, learning increased. Knowledge flourished. So too did religion. The institutional search for the greater truth. Systemic institutions grew in power. Governments, religious authorities, educational systems. But the truth is nothing if not rigid, immovable, definite. Truth does not mean equality. It means serving a greater purpose.